Well, Michael, we've changed offices to make for a pleasant change. It was very hot in that studio. So I want to move on from where we were in the digital session. I mean, we wanted this particular event to showcase new thinking and new ideas that have an immediate application. So I'm delighted that you've chosen this webinar to communicate something that truly breaks new ground for the airline industry, a platform which essentially covers e-commerce, in-flight, and the supply chain, effectively a complete end-to-end solution. Tell us more.
Yes, thanks, Peter, and I'm very delighted to be here. As you rightly said, we've seen over the last couple of months a lot of requests from airlines to redesign their complete value proposition. And we obviously reacted to it like the whole market is under, let's say, a lot of movement at the moment. And we've seen there are a lot of different solutions out there, interesting solutions and bits and pieces. But what no one has really done yet is to combine them into one single platform. And this is exactly what we have done over the course of the last months, that we have created an end-to-end platform, as you rightly said, where we are able to actually offer customers the e-commerce front end with the known functionalities in terms of mixed payments, in terms of I can order what I want, when I want, I get it delivered where I want it. Plus we integrated now the in-flight part so that passengers can also buy products, duty-free products or food and beverage products on board, pay for it and have the transaction on that one, and connected all that into an integrated seamless supply chain so that we are able to actually control stocks, monitor stocks, and actually also monitor theft. We are able to do a pick and packing beforehand for pre-order and pre-selecting of F&B products on board. So the entire system and the entire platform is designed in a very simple way, we call it in a plug and play way. And it's got one huge advantage. It offers our customers to really create a marketplace. So that means to really enlarge the offers and be much more supplier independent.
Have you branded it with a name?
We're working on a branding at the moment. It's a good point because the software suite is built from different, let's say, different elements at the moment. That is something we're currently working on and which will be revealed at the end of the year.
So with the new platform, there's no upfront payment involved.
Exactly, yeah. That is another good point you just mentioned because we see obviously in the market at the moment, let's say a very much a tendency towards no spending any capex, which is absolutely clear and understandable with the current situation. And what we have done as well is we looked at the software suites we had, and we tried to find out what are the cost drivers behind that and how can we actually optimize that and what is really necessary to run and maintain the platform. We've done that homework now very successfully, and we managed to actually get the running and the maintenance and the hosting costs pretty much down. And that saying so, we are actually able to implement such a platform with no upfront investments. And our business model now is based on transactions. That means we have a small subscription fee plus a revenue or transaction-based share with our customers. And from the discussions we have so far with some of the airlines, that model is perceived as very, very interesting.
Well, it must be a bit of a no-brainer for them in real terms because you actually offer a one-stop solution.
Yes, it is a no-brainer, you're right, but unfortunately a lot of them are still in running contracts and are at the moment, let's say, in a phase where they try to actually ramp up, redesign the scale of their business. But you're absolutely right. I think that platform and the way we have set it up is highly, highly interesting for airlines and also train companies. I didn't mention it just now that we are expanding also in other markets where we have the same kind of challenges and we can solve these challenges as well. And just recently we won also 2 new customers in that field, which are already starting to use that platform now.
I understand that one of the key elements of the platform is that it's standalone and supplier independent. Is that a winning ticket for you?
Yes. As you've seen already, what we have done with Singapore Airlines is a good example, where we created a marketplace. And a marketplace means that you are opening up basically your offering to to many more brands, to many more products, and to many more offerings. And this is what we are able to do, is we can actually create a food marketplace or a duty-free marketplace or a service marketplace where we can plug in different suppliers, regardless where they are and what they at the end of the day deliver. And that enables an airline to actually have a much broader scope of the product portfolio and a much broader scope of the offering. It goes even one step further, that we create so-called shop-in-shop sites. These sites are in the design of, for example, an Apple store, and they are linked then to Apple itself. So that also plays back more traffic. And I think it's a no-brainer that this creates a lot of new synergies as well.
Now, we know that AOE's platforms straddle both airlines and airports. In this venture, who are you actually partnering with?
It's a good point. I mean, we're still having a lot of, let's say, the controversial discussions between the integration of airports and airlines. We have a setup of partners on both sides, which helping us to complete the value proposition. Coming back to the discussions of the integration of airports and airlines, I think that will be a long way. And I think at the moment airlines are more on a winning side or the gaining side, because they have access to the customer data and they've got loyalty programs which help them to redeem miles. So that's a big advantage. We'll see how that game will evolve. I think there are still a lot of synergies and overlaps, as I said, I think already before, in the food and beverage part, in my point of view, where airports could provide interesting options also for airlines, where they don't have to take the catering on board and rather give certain elements to customers already on the ground, or create pickup or vending machines. I think these are very interesting, valid options which we've tested already and which were successful. In terms of partnerships, yes, I think here we're pretty much set for the airline part, and we have some good talks with some very prominent partners at the moment on the airport part as well.
You won't name them at the moment, I understand.
But
when do you think you will be able to announce your first contracts?
I think when the LOIs are signed. We are in the middle of signing LOIs at the moment, and we're in the middle of redesigning our website at the moment, and everything will be open and transparent soon, and very interesting to look at. But at the moment, everything is still under NDA and signature. So it takes a couple of weeks still until we're ready to do that.
Just moving on, does this effectively mean that AOE's OM3 platform has actually morphed into something else entirely with this new platform that you developed?
Yes, and I think it's a good question, because if you compare it to pioneers, and I think AOE was one of the pioneers in airport e-commerce, and you obviously learn with the go. I mean, if you're the first one doing it, the first one exploring it, you're going into a new field, and you need to learn what that means and how it works. And I think there have been a couple of evaluation and evolving loops in the development, and now we are getting to a point where we are actually taking the best of both worlds. So understanding what are the drivers, what are the, let's say, the KPIs behind e-commerce, how can you make it work, how can you increase conversion, how can you increase basket value, how can you actually attract customers on that, what is the customer behavior, what is the shopping behavior. I mean, that needs to be learned, and that needs to be analyzed and taken into consideration. And based on the learning, based on the insights, based on the behaviors, based on what we saw, what works, what doesn't work, we obviously developed the products and the propositions further. And I think now we're at the point where we can say that we have solutions which are much more competitive. As I said, also airlines are not only airlines, also airports are struggling massively under the current situation. And you have to adapt to the situation. I can only say, thank goodness we've done that already over the last couple of years. So we know how to do it and where to do what to make sure that our products are becoming much more price competitive. So what I basically said for the airline part obviously counts also for the airport part. And here we also have lots of ideas at the moment how we can help and support also airports with new ideas. And some of them are marketplaces in a complete different direction. Some of them are based on brand corporations. In fact, I even got today from a very, very well-known luxury brand an email that said, wow, we are so amazed with what you're doing there on the airport. Can we speak? Are there other possibilities to support us as well? So it shows that the market is recognizing these efforts. The market is recognizing that what we do there makes sense. And we will keep on working on that, and we keep on improving it, because I think it's very important to put yourself into the shoes and into the mindset of our customers, to really understand that, okay, a partner needs to develop the product and needs to constantly challenge himself to give you the best and the most optimized solutions.
Well, I certainly think that being price competitive is very, very important these days. I mean, OM3 was always a high-end cost. I mean, it was the Ferrari of the market, as it were. But what you're now saying is that you're delivering something more affordable, more like a BMW 5 Series, possibly diesel, still seamlessly smooth, though, and reliable. Yes?
Yes, I think, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it was a platform, high-end platform for high-end customers, which I would say have the traffic and the portfolio and the spectrum of products to do that maybe. But you also need to look at other airports and what are their needs and what are their priorities, or what are their pain points actually. And we have a lot of talks at the moment with different airports which have different pain points. You know, it might start that some say, okay, we cannot really identify customers. Others say, okay, we need a new website. Others say we want to create a local marketplace with local suppliers, for example. Also a very smart approach to say, okay, we want to bring more of the local people into the airport and connect them with travelers. We have ideas where we're looking into some airports discussing with us at the moment. They say, when passengers reserve booking and then they want to reserve lounge access and then they want to reserve fast track and so on, and then we lose them on the way. We don't have a clear profile. We don't have a single sign-on technology. Others say our search functions are not working properly. So what I'm saying here is basically we're opening the spectrum as experts to help airports find new ways to their pain points, and develop together with. I don't think, coming back to this OM3 discussion, I don't think there is a one fits all. I think we need to really look from airport to airport. What are their needs? What are their pain points? What could be their strategy? And that's why we also developed a so-called Kickstarter or incubator team, which is a small consulting unit, which is there for our customers and our partners, or the people or the airports who want to work with us, which is more than happy to share their experiences and share their know-how and help our customers to develop solutions which gain them more customer traction, more customer insights, more ancillary revenues, a seamless travel journey, a touchless travel journey, and so on and so on. So I think AOE understood that we need to open up a little bit more into different things. Also, we discussed this morning sustainability is a huge, huge field for airports. And there might be complete new applications there, which we haven't even thought about it. So what I'm basically saying is we're opening up to much more different fields in
very much more
airports.
tailored as well, far more tailored activity on your behalf.
Yeah, I mean, we are a digital company at the end of the day, so everything has to do, obviously, with kind of digital solutions. But I think there are much more options and much more possibilities to help.
Just going back to, or going forwards to the new platform, let's say that. What are the other benefits? I mean, have you linked the platform to other income streams?
Yes. We're going a little bit one step after the other at the moment because the technical integrations are completed now. Now we have some pilot customers already running on it very successfully, very smoothly, which is quite good to see. And obviously we're going to start now expanding the different features and modules in the front end and in the back end so that we are able to plug in more, let's say, suppliers or even consumer brands, and in the front end to also provide relevant content. So basically connect e-commerce also with other content platforms.
So it's content and incremental advertising revenue.
For example, that could be one part. I think there are many different things we could envision at the moment. How we enable airlines to even more increase their ancillary revenues. In the front end, there are also more integration and different models we're currently thinking in terms of loyalty as well. You can also create their new models, which we're thinking at the moment, in partner models. I think the options, once you have a platform up and running, I think at the front end and the back end, there's still a lot of stuff you can play around.
So, what else is new? You mentioned rail networks, railways. What's happening there?
Yeah, that's an interesting market. In fact, the market is same like with airports. It's similar but different. And for airlines and for railway companies, we're having some interesting projects in the pipeline at the moment. It reaches from, let's say, a new digital workplace for people on the train, the guy, I don't know how they're called, who do the ticketing and so on, up to like new concepts for restaurants, up to new kind of supply chain models. Even to think about how could be vending integrated in trains in the future. Again, it's a bunch of different ideas we're currently working on. In fact, if you look at a train station, it's similar like an airport. It can also be an interesting marketplace, maybe for different needs and different products. But I think the setup there is pretty similar, and a lot of railway companies are still even worse structured and silos than airlines. And I think there's a lot of work there also on the organizational part. But we see huge potential because what is happening now through the bailout, governments are putting more pressure on local infrastructures to be transferred to the railway. We will see in the future new ecosystems arising between railways, airports, and airlines. And I think that whole game will open up a complete new area of possibilities. Because as we see already in France or in other North European countries, the train has significantly taken passenger traffic away from airlines. Through the bailouts now by governments, there will be more pressure to do so. So that segment will be growing and will be much more interlinked with the actual airlines. And I think there is a lot of new opportunities for digitalization, for integration, and that's the piece which we find very interesting at the moment.
One final question, Michael. I mean, if you could describe the difference that your brand new platform will make for the industry in one sentence, what would it be?
Yeah, Peter, it's actually very simple. it's an end-to-end solution, which no one has done yet. And we developed it. We put it together. Very simple.
Michael Raasch, thank you for your time.